My father is a sheikh of another tariqat, and he's deceased. I looked for him, as a guide. After he passed, I was looking for a guide. And I was on the internet when I saw a passage of Sheikh Nazim. He was talking about, shaitan being trapped with the ego. And so, even though I hadn't seen him, everything he said, my father had told me before. Exactly what he said, how he said it, I heard it before from my father. So I tried to research. I said, this is a genuine sheikh. I mean, I have known a lot of sheikhs, but I knew right away that he was the real one. And so I made research more on the internet to find out who he was. Actually, I didn't do it the same day, but I went to bed that night. I saw him in a dream. He had the sun in his hands, his right hand. And he had young male boys, about 20 of them, standing behind him. And he himself shone like the sun. So I started walking towards him. And he stopped me. Even though he did not speak, like stop, he spoke. I understood him. So I stopped, and then he shone the sun through me. I could feel it. I could feel myself, my inner being filled with the light. So, and then I got up from the dream. I decided that I had to research about him because I haven't seen him, to make sure that he's the same person, the looks and everything. So I went on the internet and on YouTube to type in sheikhs of all tariqats. And he came up. He was the first that came up. And it was exactly him. And actually, the picture that I had, when he came to me, I have that picture on my refrigerator because I took it off the internet. I printed it off the internet because it is the same way. He looked the same way, like the sun on him. And so the next day, I was making zikr. I was crying from this. I wept all day. And all night, I was sitting making zikr. And then I saw him sitting close to me. This is not a dream, physically. He had on a black turban and a black robe, just like Sheikh Abani has now. And he sat there. I thought it would be like a moment thing. But he sat there all night till I went to bed. And he left. So since then, I've been seeing different lights, different form of lights, different planets. People come and they take me. Physically, people come. I don't see them, but they fly with me to places. I get scared, so I close my eyes. I don't know where they take me. And then, in my dream, after I met Sheikh Nazim, I also met with Sayyidina Qadri Jilani. I saw so many jinns walking towards me, but they did not mean to harm me because they just passed me by. And then far away, I saw a group of Muslims, about 10 Muslims. Some of them were bathing their sheep, and one female dressed in blue and a big white kimar. And so as I was walking towards them to find out who they were, I saw a big black panther, a black tiger, the size of a cow, with fierce eyes. It looked at me. It did not harm me. I felt very comfortable. I passed. And I went straight to a very tall man, dark, with a white turban and white jalabia. And he was making zikr. So I went and I kneeled in front of him just like I have done now. And I asked him who. He smiled at me. And I said, who are you? He said, I'm Sayyidina Qadri. And I said, okay, I want to go with you to where you came from. And he said, you have to stay. If you go with us, you cannot come back. So they decided they wanted to leave. As they were going, I held on his ropes. I started weeping, crying. I was crying all over him and dragging his clothes. I want to go with you. He said, you can't come with us. So they turned their forms into something else. I knew in the dream that they didn't want me to go with them. They were trying to get me to, leave them alone, probably. Then I saw that they were entering into the ground. There was a hole. They were going down in the hole. After they all went down, I tried to follow them, to go in. But when I went in, it was sealed. So I came out. Sheikh Nazim, I see him almost twice every week. Sometimes I'll be making salat and he appears in front of me. He's leading me in prayer. Whatever question that I have inside of me, he comes. I see it in a dream and he answers me one way or the other. Sheikh Abani, I started seeing him. I didn't tell him yet, but last week, Friday, I had a book. I was reading this book that I had bought a long time ago. It's called The Wisdom of a Sufi Master. And I did not get the chance to read the book. And so I took that book into my bed, that I would read that book in bed. And then I fell asleep. So in my sleep, I saw Sheikh Kabani. He came to me, and that night, it had rained that night. And he was beaten by the rain. His robes were wet. And he said to me, there's one guy at the Zikr group that we have in New York. He leads the Zikr group. He had a book in his hands, a small book. He was reading the book. And Sheikh Kabani had a bigger book in his arm, like he came from a place. And he said to the man, are you still reading this book? You should have finished this book to a higher book. And I looked at him and I said, is he talking to me or he's talking to that man? So then I got up I waked up. Then my book was in front of me, and I said, but I bought this book a long time. I tried to read it. I went to sleep. I have still not finished the book. And so he's saying to me, I have to finish that book because it's taking too long for a bigger book. The next day, I saw him. I tried to look at my husband, and I saw his face. I didn't see my husband's face. It's so many. This is next time I would share the rest.
Now it's enough. Something than you and me. It's finished.